What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republics Off the Air. It is Tuesday, January the 21st, 2025. Sorry, I didn't mean to add all the commas in there, but either way, we're stoked to be back. Thank you for tuning in as always. It's the same crew as always as well. And in the words of our friend Dryzzy, who I'll just go ahead and actually introduce first this time, the guy we should believe in, this actually turned out to be a go-home show, did it not, my friend Driz?
Good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in. It is your boy Drizzy. If you are familiar with NXT, we definitely know that their go home shows are not really all that good. And that's exactly what this is like. Man, this was a bad episode, but it definitely was not up to normal NXT standards.
I could not agree more. But before we move forward, we also have to introduce the next guy. Second, and this is even better because you can just keep the twos up the entire time from the DMV. Working overtime today. It's Shoddy himself. Get the twos up. It's a Tuesday night delight. What's good, buddy?
I'm on some new age. I'm chucking my deuces up to her. I'm moving on to something better. What's going on, man? It's your boy Shad Talks Grabs. If you don't know, now you know. Yeah, it was kind of a whatever episode, but more importantly, you peeped the artwork behind me. My talented wife painted all these pictures behind me, so shameless plug on that. Let's get it.
Absolutely. NXT is not taped. No one, I don't think anyone said that, by the way. The DCX Warlord, no, it was not. He said Theory was on IG Live. No, so I don't think it was taped.
What's
I don't
his
know.
picture?
I don't know who said that. But monster shout out. I guess let's get right into the show. Let's talk about Mr. Edward Thorpe versus Oba Femi. Ooh. I'm gonna come out of the gates, and I really hate to start my favorite show of the week on Tuesday night, kind of on a sour note. I'm feeling a little bit sour. I'm feeling post warheads right this second because this felt like just a big old promo for the Grayson Waller effect. And I don't care about the Grayson Waller effect.
Like, they don't even go here.
I don't care. Why were they on the balcony? Who gave them the tickets?
They got a good theme song.
I just, I don't like any of it. Grayson Waller doesn't even box, as far as I know.
No, he just drinks shit. He just drinks.
And then
he just
you
drinks
have
alcohol out of a shoe.
Oh, chill, man. Those are friends of those are friends of Drizzy. All right.
They are friends of mine. Yes, they are good, but they're good friends of the show. They are very good friends of the show.
exactly.
But I need them to do SmackDown stuff, not NXT stuff.
We can't. I mean, Austin Theory, like in theory,
like these are former
it's like
champions.
You know, it's kind of like one of those things. It's like you graduate, like the people that like graduated high school, but they come visit people after school in high school, like, and it's been 2 years. Like, bro, like, should I call like Chris Hansen on you? Like, get out of here. Like,
yeah, like what are we doing here?
Job, bro. Like,
why are you here? I just to have him on it, and it's not like he's Jimmy Kimmel. It's not like it's like, oh yeah, we've got Femi coming on. It's gonna be a big thing. Like, so he's gonna destroy the set and throw them around, both of them. Like, what are we gonna get, a handicap match out of this?
I really don't.
What's
I really
the point
hope not.
here?
I really hope not.
Well, and so I'll say this, right? And I think tonight's main event is a bigger issue. And two things. One, Eddy Thorpe was supposed to rise to the occasion coming into this feud with Oba Femi. We were supposed to see him as a viable threat, as someone who could be in the main event picture on NXT. And at the end of the day, he just looked like another working hand. Like this wasn't a situation where Oba is having a title defense just to have a title defense. This was a prolonged story where Eddy Thorpe has maneuvered his way to get opportunities and showing a more heel character, and it didn't elevate him, and that's the unfortunate aspect of it. On top of this, what are we gonna do? Like, there is a gaping hole in the men's division on the main event side in NXT. Most of the roster are tag teams, or they're cooped up within that realm of the North American title slash the whatever the hell what's his name has
The Heritage Cup.
Heritage Cup,
Heritage Cup.
right? Yeah, so you have that. Those things take so much time of competitors and people that wrestle on it, and everybody else is a tag team. We need some viable competitors in this main event scene. You can't just rotate it between Oba now and Trick and Ethan Page. Like, we need some more. And us going to the wheelhouse of SmackDown, potentially getting Grayson Waller, Austin Theory, it it draws a little bit of worry from me. It seems like we're not developing a lot of the guys on the men's side compared to what we are doing on the women's side. Because to me, the women's side, it has a nice balance between both title pictures. On the men's side, it's very, very different. And I don't know. I feel like it's an ongoing issue. They need to find more depth, and they need
And
people that can rise to the occasion.
that's what's odd is there's never been anything more logical than a Trick Williams call up post losing the title to Obafemi.
Mm-hmm.
It's an honorable loss. It makes perfect sense.
Once you
Go
call 'em
straight
up,
to the main
what
roster.
happens?
We end up with a tag team that's loosely tied to the tag team title picture and mostly teases breaking up with each other. We have basically a walking reality show.
Yeah.
Show up in the balcony. And then all of a sudden now we're supposed to sit here and thank goodness Trick Williams comes and saves the segment and hits the trick shot on Eddy Thorpe. Essentially
And
for no reason. Like what in
he hits the trick shot, sending Eddy Thorpe flying back out of the main event scene. Like, Shad hit it on the, and we've been talking about it for a little bit now, and it's gotten absolutely worse now when you put people like Javon Evans and Ethan Page in feuds with each other, because that automatically takes away from your title picture now. So now all you really have left is Trick and Obafemi. There's nobody else, and I don't think they're gonna have Trick and Oba go back and forth all the way until Stand and Deliver. We still have like a good 4 months of stories we got to tell here before there's anything. It's
oh,
gone from being an alarming situation to a true emergency. Like, we need.
mhm. Wait, we missed that last part, I think.
You froze up for a second, Driz.
Oh,
Just for a second.
my bad. It's like it's gone from an emergent, like a alarming situation, to okay, let's hit the alarm because we need main eventers now. We need, well, I'm not saying main eventers because the women's division is more than capable of main eventing everything. But
Yeah,
the men's division definitely needs stars
the
for that NXT title.
the main title. I guess I should also reword it. The NXT Men's Championship,
Yeah.
that division, which is also pseudo main event. I mean, Obafemi is a main eventer, regardless of what that man needs to be
Oh, there's no doubt
the
about
main
that.
event
Yeah.
on every card. We
Listen,
put
He,
him
he has main
you got
event
your top
written on
two.
his forehead and
But
just an
but
invisible
here,
ink.
but here's the caveat: you're only a main event upon what the card is, what the match is delivered. So here's the thing, right? Because Drizzy just said it perfectly right there. Obafemi versus, I don't know. Let's say Obafemi versus Sean Spears. Hell, let's say that's gonna be the title match. Is on the same card as like Julia versus Stephanie Vaquer. Sean
Yeah.
Spears is
Mm,
not
That's
letting
not main
that be
event.
the main event.
In fact,
at
that's
all.
opening. That's opening the show.
That's an opening match. Yeah.
I agree. Okay. Also, interesting development here, guys. Really close friend of the show, Bobby Petito, over on Instagram in the comments. Where are you at on YouTube, Bob? Either way, we should bring in TNA men's wrestlers in the main event scene.
Yeah.
I hear you there.
That
Nick
is
Nemeth fits
that's a
this.
short term. That is a
That's a
short term
perfect
band-aid of a
person,
problem.
man.
Yeah, but Nick Nemeth,
Band-Aid.
Femi, come on.
But Nick, say what anybody wants to say about Nick Nemeth, the artist formerly known as Dolph Ziggler. That is the damn a perfect wrestler to give you a quality feud and a quality opponent for Obafemi. He will make Obafemi
Look
feel
great.
like that main stage guy that can be at a WrestleMania at some point. Like that's the type of guy. Him, Josh Alexander. You know, there's a lot more on the NXT on the team. Santana? What?
Give
Come
Mike
on,
Santana
bro.
a match. Give Mike Santana a match and watch what he do with it.
Mike Santana, I think, is the most underrated member of the TNA roster. Honest to goodness, I still am sad about Proud and Powerful.
Yes,
I still am because it was my favorite tag team in the game. It was. I can't lie. There's a stone that will forever be unturned in my heart for Proud and Powerful. But Mike Santana is so damn good. If you aren't taking him seriously, and if you haven't seen what he's done over these last 2 years, coming off of a horrific knee injury, coming off of that, reinventing himself, reworking his spot in the industry. Mike Santana, yes, him and Obafemi, sign me up. Where do I sign? Tomorrow.
Yeah.
No problem. That guy is that dang good.
Yes,
And
it is.
I mean,
but the issue
DCX
is
Warlord is adding other names. He said Jake something and Hammerstone. There's
and
tons.
those are all great names, but they
matchup.
do not fix the problem.
Yeah.
No.
At all.
I think Santana might, in a way that some other names from TNA.
But it's a deep rooted problem for the division of NXT. Obviously, you can lean off of both, and I think they will lean off of both. But
if you really think about it, this is another problem too. And you know what? Let's stick with this topic for a second because I'm actually curious about it. Think about the history of the North American title as well as the NXT World title. The most logical challenger right now on paper, take a lot of the emotion out of this. For Obafemi is the guy that pinned him.
Yeah.
It's Tony D.
And eventually they're going to need to go back to that, but I feel like they're probably not going to do that for a little bit.
And this is where we're in that weird juxtaposition because we sit here and we love NXT. We cover it every single week on this very show. But we're also looking at it like, well, Tony D logically main roster. Like he's main roster bound.
Like
he's tied up in other things.
That's the issue. Like you have Obafemi, you have this brand new, and this was the exact same problem when Trick got the belt officially. You got all these challengers that are gone to the main roster now, and he ain't got nobody left. But at that time, Obafemi, and until halfway through there, Ethan Page.
When it's interesting because
NXT needs to get somebody from this transfer portal also.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I think like
somebody's gonna be around.
As stupid as this sounds, not to sound like a big
football
analyst, but like just a veteran presence in the men's division.
Yeah,
I don't think the women's division necessarily needs. We've talked to Natalia. I think would fit the NXT women's division delightfully, as far as veteran presence is concerned. That makes sense. But on the men's side, that's necessary. That's where even the Nemeth conversation earlier, just from TNA, or I mean, what about maybe Balor after all this? We've seen him do it before. It's not unprecedented. I don't know. AJ Styles would be crazy. It'd be real cool. It'd be really cool.
Maybe not. I was gonna say Solo, but I feel like after this feud with Roman, he's too of a bigger
too big
name
on
to
the
go back
scale.
down
Yeah,
there like
Yeah,
that.
I
At
almost feel
least
like
right
too
now.
young.
yeah, he's too like close removed from being called up.
Shad,
Like
you mentioned the Miz a long time ago, and we had a similar
I think the
conversation.
Miz would be great.
The Miz would
Miz,
make a lot of sense.
the Miz, Karrion Cross, maybe let Final Testament go down there for a little bit. I think
Yeah,
that may be a good one for everybody.
just to sort of shake up that top of the division, because the reality is we're looking at all of those big names like their main roster bound outside of Obafemi, and the only reason we're not talking Obafemi in that conversation is because he's holding the title.
Yep.
So it's like, right? Like,
Like because he's
otherwise it's the same gig. And
Yeah.
that's kind of some of the trouble I feel like we run into
Yeah,
here when we're talking NXT. Not that it's not great, but I do also think that's part of the reason the episode got held back is we had main roster stuff that bled into it.
hmm
And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I don't love the WWE main roster. Do not get this twisted. But when I watch my NXT, I want my NXT,
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
right?
Unless someone is going there to
Yeah.
go there.
I'm not looking for my Friday night coffee. I'm looking for my Tuesday night NXT.
So
That's all I'm saying.
Like, so is there anybody in the mid card that probably just needs to get pushed into the main event scene? Because I'm looking at it and I'm thinking Charlie Dempsey probably needs to
Dempsey is a good
leave that
call.
alone and get into the
MC,
main event scene.
bro, Cedric Alexander, man.
Cedric definitely.
There's also like a few that are.
I don't understand why Cedric is being booked so
This is
badly
where
there,
also,
bro.
as much as this is where the balance makes it so tough. Both members of Fraxium have put in as good of work as anybody.
And that was the
And
first
it's
one
like,
I thought
but,
of.
but we want the tag team.
Mhm.
So it's like, or at least I do. And I'm like, that's where I'm stuck there. I'm trying to think. I mean, Javon Evans, but injury angle
Javon
we've got.
Evans is up there too. I mean, I don't understand why Cedric hasn't been booked as a prominent guy who could be a competitor. He doesn't need to win it, but I would have him booked in the same breath as how we've been booking Ethan Page. I think he's just as talented as Ethan Page, a way better in-ring worker. Maybe not as character based on the mic, but I mean, Cedric was part of the Hurt business. He shows that he can be main stage when you need him to be main stage. Like,
Interesting.
They got him
one here.
being Unk.
Duke Hudson.
Duke Hudson,
That is another good one.
a repackaged Duke Hudson. I mean, the guy's a huge, big, strong.
I don't know where he's been.
Yeah, I don't know there. I mean, that's what's weird about like the Chase U folding.
We did have
In a weird way, it felt like it kind of hurt the men's division because Andre Chase is sort of out of that.
and he would have been a good chase to put into that world title scene.
Sure. And even like, yeah, why not? 100% Drizzy. And then even like, I mean, there's a lot of names here that like, it is kind of odd how it feels like it's been flipped on its head. Matt Cardona, I'm not even going to click on that one. I'll read it, but that's a bit much. I think
Cardona, after this past weekend,
Cardona's big ask.
Cardona's not doing
But I mean, we had all ego. And I actually, in hindsight, I think he did a better job than I gave him credit for at the time. So I'll go back and apologize for that one. I actually think he did a better job in that spot than I even realized, because now we're in this place where we're having an easier time coming up with TNA challengers than we are
NXT.
Femi challengers.
And I hate that it only got that we're only seeing it really right now because two of the guys who probably should be in the main event scene are in a storyline with each other.
Right.
So they're not looking at the belt. You're not going to see Javon and Ethan Page near the belt for a little bit because of this.
What about, dude? I think we've kind of covered that one. Do we just move on? We'll put a bookmark in this one, talk about this one later.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Bailey and Julia, and then Roxanne and Cora Jade.
Yay.
And now it leaked into commercial, which I dug. That was fun. Bailey was great on this one. Julia was great on this one. Roxanne and Cora were awesome. But I will say, the matching outfits basically from Roxanne and Cora really highlighted the height thing.
All 4 of them were wearing leather pants.
But I'm just saying you could
they're,
totally tell how short Roxanne was based on the attire.
Like, yeah, it's like,
It's like, don't put them all in the same gear.
That's like their thing, though. I guess they're like best friends, so they be planning that out.
It's fair. All right, which one of y'all want to start when it comes to this one?
Don't matter. I'll go first if you want.
Go for it, Shadi.
I thought this was a dope segment. I think my I won't say issue, but my reservations with Bayley post Mania has been she hasn't done anything amazing in her time on the main roster. I think she's been solid. I think a lot of her booking has kind of just been redundant too, and she's kind of eating a lot of L's. We even saw her eat an L yesterday on Raw. Seeing her on NXT last week and more so tonight felt new, felt fresh. And this is somebody I would have liked to possibly seen hit the transfer portal and maybe done a short excursion in NXT just because it's good to have a big time legend of NXT on the roster when you have such a hot division with women and all these young stars. It's good to have Bayley kind of mix it up with the Roxanne's, Julia's, Stephanie's, Kalani's, whoever it may be. And Bayley's promo today was the greatest way to put over a strong division. The stamp of approval, naming each woman, talking about the depth, talking about the great stuff that is going on in NXT. That's a way to get people to tune in and be like, yo, Bayley's saying this. I gotta lock in. I gotta check it out if I haven't checked it out. If I've been living under a rock. And the biggest thing that happened tonight, in my mind, is the nuclear heat that Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade got. They couldn't even get a word out. The crowd was booing them out the building. You could see Roxanne feeling flustered about it. I think Cora navigated through it well. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know if this is the type of heat that she expected to get. I think we can build off of this and help her develop more. But my main thing is just the future of what Roxanne Perez is going to do. Is she staying in NXT? Is she going to the main roster? Like, the part of it is that the more we kick the can, and if we don't have a direction with her post losing the title, the trickier it can get. So I hope we have a sense of direction. I'm excited for the tag team match next week. I think her and Cora Jade maybe working as a cohesive unit, potentially being a tag team on the main roster could be a thing. Maybe they come together as a package. But I don't know. I just see a lot of, value in Roxanne as a singles competitor. So I'm very interested to see. But all in all, I mean, Bayley just in the NXT women's picture is dope to see.
Yep. This feels like a seasonal problem because I love exactly what you said about Bayley. I agree. I think she's done as good a job as anybody from the main roster coming down and actually giving a true rub, not to go all industry term on you, but like, right, giving the true rub to the talent, right? Like making NXT look good. But we continue to run into this problem. Roxanne is so now main roster bound. It does feel like her story on NXT is done.
Yeah.
And it's being extended in some sort of way.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in this weird spot, and it almost feels seasonal because we have Mania season and we know about those post-Mania call-ups. That's a guarantee. We'll see you on Raw, right? See you on that Monday after Mania. We know about it. We're all fans. And I just don't want
to that point though. I feel like that's completely true, but even with that being the case, the easiest thing to do is just keep her off TV and then let her debut in the Rumble and then intertwine her in the story for the main roster, right?
That's what I mean. I just don't want to see everybody in sort of like the cement mixer, like sitting still before we figure it out.
Can we be real for a
Post-Mania.
second though? And this is
Yeah.
a WWE thing, and I'm sorry, maybe it's the sicko in me coming out. What is this transfer portal, bruh? This is the
is it
most
over? When does it end?
untold, like, bogus garbage way to move.
When
people
can you go?
onto
It
a
is
roster.
so much stupider than like the trading.
It's worse than the
This is
draft.
Or like it's so dumb.
goofier than what they do in actual college.
Yes. No, it's soccer, and like
Hey.
it's so funny because I don't want to knock all our
Roxanne getting
UK friends,
NIL money.
but it's a soccer thing, and I mean Ben was all excited. He's like, I've been asking for the transfer portal, and
Maybe it's
Barrett said
maybe
it.
it's because we
It's
don't.
not even soccer stuff,
It
man.
is goofier than a football bat.
It's not even soccer related. This is transfer portal for collegiate sports that the
No, it's a transfer window, technically, is what they said. But the window is open. They're leaving the window wide open. It's the same thing as the transfer portal. It's just the window's open and you can just go and come and do whatever you want. And it doesn't matter. And it's silly as could be because it's a solution for they're like everybody's whining about trades and all of this other stuff. And they're like, wait, we're gonna name it. We're gonna call it the transfer window. And people can go and everyone's going to be excited about it. And for like 3 weeks, everyone was. And now it's stupid as could be. You never put an ending on it. You never told a story. That makes no sense in the context of the show. Makes none. And not only that, it feels like you're booking on the fly because of the way it's been executed. So, like, if we really even want to dig even deeper, it feels like it's like, oh, actually, we need to tell this on Raw because people watched it on SmackDown. Like that's what's happening. It feels like reactive booking. It feels goofy.
Yeah.
And they got to figure that out. Whether it's the brand split or whatever, they got to figure that out because it's affecting all 3 shows now. It's leaked into our space here on NXT. It's bugging me.
Yeah. I don't like it. I don't like it.
It's bled into my stuff too now, and I don't like it. Thank you, 100%. But I mean, should we talk about Lexus King and Chuck Dempsey, or do you got more on this? Just keep rolling.
I just got one last analogy. It's like, remember when you get in trouble with your siblings, and your mom was like, "Who did it?" and everybody just quiet. And then she's like, "If nobody tells me, everybody getting a whooping. Everybody getting in trouble." That's what this is right now. Everybody is getting it now because they don't know what they want to do. Like,
it's so true, and it's so funny because we could have this like even broader conversation where you start talking about like, well, ROH and all this stuff over at AEW, and it's like by comparison,
ROH and
AEW has never said they have a definitive brand split.
They don't have a brand split at all.
It's why it's so funny.
WWE is they're embedded on brand splits. There are 3 different brands. There's Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, and everybody is interchanging. Like, I will cut slack for Bianca and Naomi because that's floating titles amongst the entire WWE. But there is no reason why Waller and Theory is supposed to be there tonight. There was no reason why Bayley is even supposed. Bayley just signed a transfer deal to go to freaking Raw. Why is she having a feud in NXT? I'm not complaining. I love
unless it's Monday Night Roxanne.
But
Roxanne was on 2 different shows last week.
Yeah.
Well, and not only to your point, even when it comes to the like Waller and Theory thing, so they just took steam out of the main event because they made it about plugging their segment
for next week
at the end of the week. They made the main event of the Tuesday night show about plugging their segment later in the week. They're the sideshow clowns. And then Trick came and saved the day by kneeing the other guy.
Yeah.
Like it's go figure on that one. I don't know. Speaking about go figure, dang it, I don't want to continue to be negative. So I'm gonna go we had Lexus King and Charlie Dempsey. And I'm going to go straight to you, Drizzy. I just want you to say as many nice things as you can about this before we actually talk about it.
I feel like we are on a journey with Lexus King. Before this match, they actually showed a really good video package of just his journey so far from the breakout tournament from when he came in, his initial feud after the Mello feud, and his journey has been a good one. It's been more of a character developing thing. He's never been a bad wrestler. It's just been all about the character aspect. They don't know if they want him to be more like his dad, if they want him to be something completely different. And I feel like they're starting this journey of possibly just giving him a little bit of a loose cannon, a little bit of a loose craziness. And you saw that in the match. It was very telling for his character. He wanted to use those knucks so bad toward the end, but it's it's a tough sell. I understand. I tried, y'all. I tried.
You
I
tried so
understand that
hard. I know.
I understand what they're trying to do with him, but I
I put you
wouldn't
in a
do
tough
it
spot there.
if he had the North American title. I feel like this would work out a whole lot better.
I feel
I
like
really do.
I've been meaning to get this off my chest for a long time. I feel like the perfect analogy when it comes to Lexus King is this. He has a really good barber. He just makes bad decisions when he goes and tells him what to do. It's like it he's got a great barber. He just asks for the wrong haircut. It doesn't add up. It's like every single time. It's
Like,
a
and I'll give him this. He's come way far. He's come so far from where we first started, where it's like we were like get off our screen to a point where we're rooting for him to do stuff. We're
I
rooting for him
want
to
him
be
to do
used more.
something. I just now I'm like I'm at the point where I'm like
I feel like
you
all the pieces are there. Everything is there. You have everything to make this great meal. The one thing that's throwing me off about it is the Heritage Cup.
he
It
has
doesn't fit him. If this was the North American title, yes, definitely. Everything would probably be fitting just fine. Everything tastes delicious and everything.
he
But
has to go full Pillman like his own last name and lose his mind.
I'm
He
not even
has to.
tripping about him. I'm what we
I
doing with Charlie
think
Dempsey?
yeah. Talk to me about that, Shotty.
Like you got like I just went on a rant about the men's division lacking stars. There's a dude who could be a potential star for you. Like, and we got him in a lot of like meaningless feuds. And here's the other thing, and God, I don't want to bash NXT in this standpoint, but like sometimes I feel like we don't assess what our characters should be. We're putting, I know William Regal is that's his son, and Regal was a comedy S character at a point, but I don't think we need to lean into the comedy and goofiness with Dempsey. I think Dempsey should just be a stone cold killer. I think that's what his entire mantra should be. Just go in there. I could wrestle better than you. I have that, arrogance towards it and whatnot. That's what I see what a Heritage Cup person be. It's so convoluted. The No Quarter Catch crew is more of a meme character at this point. There's a lot of silliness to it, and I feel like they took a lot of that, serious essence to him away, and you add that with Lexus King, and I don't know. It's not working for me.
I think we're kind of all in agreement on
Yeah.
that.
yeah,
It's tough. It's tough because I like both. And we're now rooting for both. Driz, you said it, or was it Shaw that you
yeah,
said it?
yeah. It's like
Either way, like we want him to do better, and same. I mean Dempsey too. Dempsey though, I do think consistency wise has been better. It's almost like it's time to make that next step, right?
yeah. Like the moment he lost the Heritage Cup, I feel like that probably should have been the next step into moving into the main event scene.
It's almost like the video game character where you haven't used your XP to upgrade yet. It's like just hit the
Yeah.
upgrade button, right? Like just do it. Like do the next step.
Right.
And if we're gonna do this with Lexus King, let's get him out of the Dempsey stuff. Because
Yes.
like I said, the Heritage Cup itself is a bit of a handicap, but it doesn't get any better when the guys who do it better than most are the guys you're feuding with about it, and you
Yeah, he
just beat
don't.
them for it.
Let's King don't do nothing to be in the Heritage Cup picture. He's not that good in ring to
No,
be
it's not like
in
yeah,
that
he's not
picture.
that he's not that guy.
Like at
Never
this,
been moved by a match by him.
The "you're not that
so
guy" meme is officially old, but you're not that
yeah,
guy.
so
Like,
definitely while he's got this, don't put him in there with Dempsey again. Let Dempsey go to the main event scene. This is where you bring somebody like maybe a Dante Chin, uh,
yep.
or a Mensa, something like that.
Mhm.
Like I think that would be a lot
Ornamenta
better.
is actually a great call there.
I
Yeah.
don't know what he's
Okay,
been either. But
let's
yeah,
talk about
anyways, next
one.
topic. Yeah.
I mean, we got an interesting main event topic afterwards, but let's talk about one more match before we get to that one. Let's talk about Jada Parker and Carmen Petrovic.
Petrovich.
So I did my best. Shad, you do it better.
Gorman Petrovich.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, Jada off the schneid as far as the internet's concerned. Back in the ring, back on the show, and that's all we're talking about
Jeez
when it comes to
Louise.
this. I'm stoked about it.
Uh,
Good for Jada Parker when it comes to that.
Hey,
Carmen, I don't know. Shoddy, get us started when it comes to this match.
woo. Damn. It definitely didn't feel like Jada Parker had the crowd eating from the palm of her hands, and a lot of that may be stuff outside of what's going on in the show. But in regards to this match, this feud, there were God, man, Clark, why you gotta make me seem like the bad guy today, bro?
It's my fault.
We're rinsing, repeating a lot of storylines. The Kalani and Jada Parker storyline feels a little bit similar to Lola Vice and Jada Parker, where they kind of have a bit of a backstage interaction, and then Kalani comes out, and she's the reason why Jada Parker loses this match to Carmen Petrovich, and we're gonna get a Jada Parker and Kalani feud. It is a bit of a copy and paste of stuff we've seen before, but I'm not mad at it. I think Kalani and Jada Parker is actually a good feud to kind of sink our teeth in. I think Kalani adds the element of being incredible in the ring that Jada Parker can kind of, elevate within it. But then on the contrary, I think Jada Parker character-wise is going to help Kalani elevate her character and step up, be a little bit more feisty like she has been. So I'm excited for that. Carmen Petrovic pulls up with the win. Her and, Ashanti the Adonis continue the greatest love story of all love stories. I'm trying to think of a name for them. Maybe Kashanti maybe Kashanti works. Yeah,
Kashanti is pretty
Kashanti's
perfect.
good. Yeah,
Honestly, that's actually way more gold than I expected.
Kashanti is a thing. That is a thing.
I'll say
Kashanti.
this.
yeah.
I think Kalani Jordan is the most underrated wrestler on the NXT roster, period.
Mhm.
I actually think she's arguably the most main roster ready talent of anybody, including names we've already mentioned that are like main roster bound.
Yeah.
Kalani booked properly, like she can work with anybody. It's not.
Kalani has a little bit of that like Willow baby face feel to her, where like she's so lovable and she's very white meat baby face, but she also has a competitive
But
edge that we are
I don't
seeing.
think people
that's why
understand
they're
how
doing
good of
this
an
storyline.
athlete Kalani is.
But that's why they're doing
Kalani,
this storyline.
like we look at the women that have really, especially gone over in WWE lately, athletically speaking, with like ridiculous accomplishments, wrestling training, right? Tiffany Stratton, number one by far, Bianca Belair.
Oh yeah.
Kalani Jordan's that caliber of an athlete.
Yeah, Bianca is like what these women who are NIL athletes strive to want to be.
She can do whatever anybody can do in the ring.
I'm
Period.
gonna be real. I'm gonna have to say something for a second because I know Tiffany Stratton. I'm a Tiffy truther, but I gotta bone to pick with her for a quick second because I know she puts a lot of love and a lot of props to Charlotte. Tiffany, if Bianca Belair was not there, you wouldn't be you wouldn't be that's the path. She paved the way for you. Like Bianca
It's
paved the
so
way for you.
true.
Like that's like I see Tiffany more as Bianca than I see Charlotte Flair.
By a lot. Well, and it's
That's
interesting because Charlotte Flair was a heck of a volleyball player, but she wasn't
Mhm.
an All-American.
Yeah,
And
plus
Bianca was an
Charlotte's like a
All-American.
like Charlotte to me is like a technician because her father is Rick, so
When
that
you
is that. But like
and
you're
Kalani's equally as accomplished in the same sport as
yeah,
Tiffany Stratton, which is so interesting to me.
for sure.
That's something that's often overlooked, equally if not more accomplished.
Kalani has a more fluid style to me. I think she's able to get through her like move
She
set a lot more fluid than a lot of other girls can.
she figured out the best way to make her moveset work for her.
I love hyperbole. I'll say it right now. I think she's the best athlete in women's wrestling. Period.
Wow.
She's the
I think it's
best
Kalani Jordan.
athlete,
I think
but
she's the best pure athlete in women's wrestling.
y'all made a comment a little bit ago about she's got this white meat baby face, let's go get them champ thing. And I think that's the biggest reason they're doing this storyline. They're trying to put that mean streak in her. They're trying to get that I like to call it the Drew McIntyre effect, where you're a baby face, but you do things that make sense. You're not sitting there giving away title shots. You're not doing goofy stuff. They're trying to give her that edge that she needs to be a powerful character. And right now, their most powerful character is Jada Parker. And yes, this is a rinse and repeat of the Lola Jada Parker feud, almost to a T. You're just switching Lola out for switching Kalani in for Lola. I'm just hoping that they do differently about it. And honestly, why not make Kalani the heel in this? There's no better way to get that edge than to just go full dark. And I really feel like that would probably take Kalani to a entire new level. It's
I
gonna
love the idea, Driz. I think in any other circumstance, that's the move. I think right
Issue
this
is
second,
Jada messed
you have to dig it the
up.
other way. I think you have to dig it
Jada
the other
messed it
direction.
up.
You
Jada
have to have
Parker messed it
Jada
up.
mess up Kalani consistently, and you have to have Kalani fight from underneath.
Bro,
I think
Jada
this
Parker
time,
messed up the dynamic of that being there. I think people are gonna not want to root for her versus Kalani.
Kalani's going to be hard to root against anyway. I don't know that
yeah,
that's
that's like I think Kalani is. So they're gonna do some stuff.
Yeah.
The stuff outside the ring means absolutely nothing to me. What they do and whatever
Yeah,
they
for
do
sure.
outside the ring, that's them.
yeah,
It is not my business.
yeah,
Let them people live.
yes.
What
I
we
agree.
worried about is in here. So I'm not about to penalize that woman for having a life outside of wrestling. What we about to do is sit there and listen to the stories, y'all.
No,
I'm
by the way, I agree with that
I
notion. And
agree.
her, whatever her, whatever she believes in, whatever that's on her. I have no issues. That there's a lot worse people that they all didn't forgave in pro wrestling, but it's just people are weird. I don't
It's
even wanna
hard to
say
frame
weird.
it
It's
in
just
a
a
way
weird
where
situation.
I don't want to make I'm going to say this, and I know I'm probably going to hear about it later on. If anybody else would have made these comments, I really feel like it wouldn't have been blown up. But because a black woman be saying things,
I think
it
that's
just
fair.
gets blown up 10 times more. And I
Drizzy, I do
really,
think that's fair.
it's
Yeah, for
gotta,
sure.
it's
And,
gotta
and
Yeah.
stop.
No, and I agree. I mean, I bet you if Lacey
yeah,
Evans liked it, everyone would have been like, "Ah, it's just
Oh
different.
Lacey
yes,
Evans."
Well, I
Lacey, you're
mean,
so
that
right.
took Lacey Evans had to say a lot of stuff before anybody noticed it.
Yeah.
And let me put it that way. But
Well, if the Undertaker liked it, everybody would be
yeah,
like,
it's
dead
like,
man.
yeah, I'm like, we could spend another hour on that one.
Yeah, my bad. Anyways,
100%.
let's
No, nobody's
let's
bad
get to
there.
the final
No,
topic. My bad.
nobody's bad there. No. But like one thing I will say that's interesting is it's kind of been a theme of this show. Both Jada and Kalani do seem also like main roster ready.
Mm-hmm.
And
Jada Parker and Kalani are both main roster
Both.
ready if given the
They're-
opportunity.
and when it comes to this storyline, Shad, you had mentioned earlier, it does feel a bit recycled,
Mhm.
right? And I think that's where it gets a little tough. here because I really want this to be a blood feud, and I really hope it's only paid off Mania weekend. And then both need to debut very shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
In some regard, I think that's kind of the case. It's
What if
time to
this
graduate.
could
Like,
be?
I hate to, it's like I'm getting rid of in my own heart, right? It breaks my heart because I love watching the product and I love this roster
The
we had for
butterflies
so
gotta fly
long.
out the cage at some
But it's
point.
time. It's time.
But if this is the end of the road for them, this would probably
Yeah.
be the best way to go because, like I said, you have your
Yeah.
best athlete and your biggest character. Like this is the you add your Triple H to the how we call Soul and Kalani, The Rock and Austin. This is how you add your Triple H into it with Jada Parker. Like a stacked women's division, and these are your strongest ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm with you. And I think it'll be interesting, but I do think it's time for not a new crop necessarily, but like just sort of a shift NXT wise.
Yeah.
As
Mhm.
much as we've fallen in love with this roster and the current product,
Time for some new
I think
blood.
tonight's episode was very telling.
Mhm.
Everything felt like like it's time for so and so to go, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
and I do think something about that is telling to me. And I'm just hoping that we've gotten lucky. It's been executed very well the last few years. We've been so
Sure.
blessed to do every Tuesday night and everything. Like when it comes to this roster and NXT, it's so much fun. Let's talk about something really wild to wrap up the show.
Mhm.
Guess who was on commentary today?
Yes.
Corey flippin' Graves.
Yes.
How about that? I mean, he sounded great. He was in good
I
spirits, Drez.
I'm always been a fan of the sarcasm of Corey Graves. I absolutely miss Corey Graves and Renee going back and forth. But this is, you know what? If Raw and SmackDown can't keep him, I will be more than honored to have Corey Graves. Corey Graves is he has this unique style to him that no other commentator has. The sarcasm that he adds to his it really gives the show its own special je ne sais quoi. It, like he adds a bit of youth to it because most of the commentators, I think he may be the youngest commentator out of everybody. I'm not sure if that's 100% true, but he may very well be. And because he was also an in ring competitor, he adds a little bit more to it. This kind of same as what Booker adds, except adds a bit of an older, mature at times thought process to it.
Yeah.
Wade Barrett, he gives a bit of an older. His is definitely more mature than Books, but his thought process. Corey Graves right now, if injuries did not happen, would be in his prime. So
Yep.
he sees things a little bit differently than how everybody else does, and I love it. He also is one of those who keeps up with the product everywhere. You can't tell me he's the only person I think of that would have handled the Penta commentary a whole lot better than the guys on Raw
Yep.
because he understands it. He's probably been seeing Penta backstage for years. Like so, if Corey Graves is the newest, let's just keep him in NXT then.
I agree. And honestly, I thought he did great tonight. I really did. He was awesome on commentary. I think he's one of the best talents when it comes to whether it's color commentary or play by play
Hmm.
in the business. And it's really hard to find a guy that versatile, that has that knowledge of the business, like you mentioned, because he's a former performer. No rhyme intended there, but that was an accident. But either way, Corey's that dang good, and it was cool to see him back, and I'm really glad it didn't get petty.
Yes.
While it would have been explosive and definitively changed our show this evening, right? We would have had a real long discussion had he gone into business or done something. We've
Yeah.
done a lot of that this week, and it was nice to just hear Corey Graves on commentary doing what he's damn good at.
Mhm.
That was cool to me. I don't know. Shaw, do you have thoughts on it?
I mean, yeah, it was cool to see him on our television. It's cool for them to, not acknowledge the elephant in the room, keep whatever happened online a thing of a past. He deleted the tweets. It does seem like it was something of his frustration about the situation. Not sure if conversations were made. I don't know all the behind the scenes things, but I do know as a commentator, as someone who, like Drizzy said, can call play by plays when we're talking about any show. Corey Graves is one of the best ones in the business on WWE. I like the dynamic on NXT today. I think him and Vic Joseph is a very good tandem. I'm curious to see what happens with Booker T in the mix of it because it feels like Booker kind of took a little bit of a step back tonight. So
Yeah.
I wonder how we'll intertwine because a 3-man is not an easy. The only people that could do good 3-man shows is the ones that you're watching right now.
Well played, Shoddy. No, I love that. Yeah, no, it is a difficult scenario there. I will say though, it's been a blast on this Tuesday. I do think that brings us to the end of the show, my friends.
Yeah.
Happy Tuesday night. Tune in every single week, same time, same place. Post NXT. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, do that. It means the world to us. On behalf of me, Shoddy and Driz, everybody here at WR, thank you so much. Have a good one, and we'll talk to y'all soon.